Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are, or good morning to my supporters on the other side of the globe. And thank you so much for joining in and welcome to yet another live stream of the Angry Astronaut. And we have an angry-o-meter down at the bottom. This is the brainchild of my friends in Yorkshire, specifically the missus of my friend in Yorkshire who runs all of this for me and makes this a much better show than it used to be. So the reason that I'm currently annoyed, and I'm gonna get right into it, is, and a lot of you guys have probably heard about this, the whole concept of a space tourism tax. Um, Now, just to be clear, this has not been, passed. It's not gone through the House of Representatives or the Senate, hasn't been signed or anything like that. But this whole notion that we need to tax people who go into space just because I mean, they're investing a hell of a lot of money as it is in order to be able to do it, unless they happen to be fortunate enough to win. And, Sir Richard Branson at least is giving the opportunity to average everyday people to win at random, depending on, what kind of entries they put in. I have actually, entered this myself. And guess what? You get to be taxed regardless. And, at least as far as I understand this, unless you're making some kind of scientific contribution, you get taxed. Now, or contribution to safety or something like that. Here's my question: who the hell gets to make these decisions? Who decides who's making a worthwhile contribution and who's going up just for the hell of it? And I find that to be very irritating. In any event, thank you very much. And yeah, that is indeed correct. A lot of people are not reacting well to this. It is a brand new announcement. And once again, this has not been passed, but still it is being suggested, and it's being connected to this whole notion that it's billionaire envy that's causing this. It's saying we're angry at these billionaires for going into space, so let's go ahead and tax. Okay, well, that's not what's happening. I mean, are we going to tax Wally Funk for going to space? Is she going to be discouraged from going into space in the future because she's going to be taxed for doing it the next time? Because she certainly would have been taxed. The New Shepard is an automated system. And so there's nothing really that she could have contributed, although I would argue that she made some sort of contribution since no female her age has ever gone to space. But nevertheless, is she going to get taxed again? And if she isn't, then who is going to get taxed? Who gets to make these choices? Some pencil pusher in the damn government, and I just, of course, don't like it. Who would? Who would like this idea? Why even bring up this idea? I find it to be very irritating. Bear with me for just one moment. $250,000 to blow. But if that's just not it. It isn't necessarily $250,000. That's not what everybody is going to have to pay from now on. The way Richard Branson has this laid out, he wants to give out 1 or 2 seats on this flight for free. So what happens if some teenager, some 19-year-old in some low-income neighborhood ends up winning this thing? They win their flight to space, and then they have to pay a tax based on a $250,000 prize. They could never go to space on that. And so those are the sorts of things that annoy me. So let's see here. I'd be surprised the IRS doesn't go after saying the free ride. Yeah, declaring the free ride as income. Yeah, that would not surprise me at all either, Joycey. Not at all. By the way, I just want to mention to you for a few months, I've never really mentioned this. I actually have a channel on a platform called Odyssey, Odyssee. And if you want to have a look at that, it just has all the same material that I have here. But if you want to go check it out, sometimes I might include a little bit of extra material there simply because they don't censor things the same way. So just to let you know, I do have another channel out there. It's essentially duplication of my material, but please follow me on Odyssey as well, ODYSE.com. Okay, let's see here. Talk about having a cake and eating a tax bloodsucker again. Yeah, Orange looking at this tax, that is too funny. So yeah, what is it? The tax support? Just the government. I mean, come on. What is any of our taxes support? None of us really get any justification whatsoever. Chris, thank you so much for the £10. Really do appreciate it. Let me tell you, I took not just 2 trips, but 3. One of them was with my son, but nevertheless, I got a lot of great content while I was down at Cape Canaveral. And a lot of this stuff, by the way, is available on my Discord channel for any of you that are not part of my Discord server. You can do so either through Patreon on the link there, or you can just hit that little button, that little join button at the bottom there. I'm going to have more and more exclusive stuff. I got some pictures of the SpaceX barges, and I got to fly over the space shuttle landing strip at an altitude of 150 meters. I just flew straight over that with no window, or no doors, no windows. I was just staring straight out with a seatbelt. That's the only thing saving me from certain death as I was looking down, and it was an amazing experience to see that and to see the entire NASA complex. It was quite amazing. Yeah, I do have an Odyssey. Yep, I do indeed. A lot of you are probably familiar with that. So yeah, I would be very grateful if you want to be part of that as well. Supax, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Do I need to pay taxes for my bike ride today? Yeah, I know. I mean, once again, if you got $250,000 or whatever to spend on taxes, that devastating. What my major concern is Richard Branson had a dream. He's got this dream that anybody can have a chance to go to space. And he wants to make, I think anyway, he genuinely wants people to be able to go to space as easily as possible, for free if possible. And then we just go and pile a tax. That's ridiculous. It completely defeats the purpose of what he's trying to accomplish, and it really pisses me off, damn it. So, hey, Craig, thank you so much. Am I going to go and watch the SB3 booster test flight? That all depends, guys. Let me tell you something. Went to LA, chased Richard Branson to New Mexico, and then went to the Cape. I didn't expect to go to the Cape, by the way. It was the only time my son had available, several days in a row available to me. He's a lifeguard at our pool, not my pool. I can't afford a pool membership. But anyway, he's a lifeguard at a pool, and so he could only get that little segment of days off. So I had to go straight on another trip. So I don't know. It depends on when they schedule it. It depends on what their plans are, that sort of thing. I wish I could have seen that static fire. That was extremely cool, even though it was only 3 engines, and I have seen a 3-engine static fire before. I'm very excited about that. Let's see here. Just go to if you go to Odyssey and keep in mind it doesn't have a Y at the end of it, and just search Angry Astronaut. It'll come up. Just search the Angry Astronaut. It'll pop up for you. I really haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to it lately, to be honest. But I just decided to mention it today. What do I think about NASA choosing Falcon Heavy for the Europa Clipper? I think it's a damn good idea. It's going to save a lot of money. Number one, it will take more time because the SLS has significantly more thrust than the Falcon Heavy, and we're going to require flybys in order to gravitational flybys in order to get the probe there in anything resembling an acceptable time frame, but it's still not going to arrive at Europa as fast. So that is an important thing. Yeah, what are the taxes on 250K? Who knows, huh? Johnny Spacer, thank you so much. Taxation will force people to Mars. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. But we need to get more people to Mars where people have more of a voice in their own taxation than they have right now. Thank you so much, Johnny Spacer. And Richard Peters from Canada, thank you so much. Wow, so generous. Really do appreciate all of this amazing support that I'm getting. Maybe I can go to see this booster launch. This is awesome stuff. You guys are the best. And Rob Christopher for the 15 quid. Thank you so much. And it's not a small token for me, let me tell you. Not at all. This means the world to me. This is definitely huge. Okay, so let's have a look here. I hope you're making the cheapest endurance. Oh yeah, yeah. This. If anybody saw my most recent video, you saw my brief acting performance as I pretended to show some sympathy for Blue Origin and for Boeing. But of course, that was a complete put on. And as soon as I hit 90,000 subs, this is going up as my first two-stage rocket experiment. So we'll see what happens there. But it should be pretty funny. It should be pretty funny, no doubt. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Whoever just made that statement, I will definitely support that without any doubt. And once again, in this last episode, I wasn't actually kidding. There were quite a number of people who expressed a lot of discontent with how I was treating Jeff Bezos and saying that he shouldn't go on the flight until he gets his house in order. I really couldn't believe how many of those that I got. But it's like, oh, gee, I feel so bad for the guy. Man, if I had over $100 billion, maybe I'd want to get my house in order before I take a joyride to space. I don't see what the problem is with that. But nevertheless, people are entitled to their opinions. But I was pretty annoyed, I must say. Paul, thank you so much. And the content's going to keep coming, let me tell you. It is a 1, 2, 3 punch this weekend. I am going to be doing not only 2 live streams, one for my Patreon people, my angry advocates as I call them, and also for this one, plus a recorded episode as well. Unhinged Space, thank you so much. I really do appreciate what you just said. And by the way, Unhinged Space is a great channel, guys. They are a fantastic channel. Support them. Absolutely support their channel. Watch them and, just keep their videos running in the background in your computer if you want to. Because the way things work on YouTube is you don't just need subscribers, you need viewing hours. Sovereign, good. Glad you like it. Yeah, let's get this moved to the 11th button. I know I can definitely do that. Jeffu, yes. BE4 engine delay. BO sucks. They do indeed. They are putting so many things at risk right now. So many things at risk. It's not just them. It's not just the engines. It's not just the Vulcan Centaur. It's the people who work on the Vulcan Centaur. And some of you may know, I think a lot of you probably know, that ULA has a manufacturing facility in Harlingen, right where the whole thing going on with SpaceX is, just a 40-minute drive away from Boca Chica. And those people's jobs are going to be at risk if the Vulcan Centaur does not get going. And that's simply because it will be illegal for the Vulcan Centaur to take up military cargoes until they have American-made engines. That's a law by 2023. So, I mean, why wouldn't you be pissed off at them? Why wouldn't you be pissed off at Jeff Bezos for taking a joyride on a spaceship as opposed to focusing on what he should be focused on right now, and that is delivering for his customers? And that's one of the reasons why I was theorizing that, you know what, maybe he's delaying this on purpose. Because remember, when this contract was first formulated, the whole deal wasn't set up to where ULA was going to get 60% of the military contracts. If this gets upended, if this whole deal gets upended with the military, then guess who loses that 60%? ULA. Guess who might be able to take advantage of it? Blue Origin. And I'm not saying that's the case, or even that it's likely the case, but it seems really convenient, doesn't it? And that's one of the reasons why I put that probe out there. Let's see. Read the Electron failure review. Yes, it seemed very, very thorough. I do believe that they have really gone into depth, Rocket Lab, as to why that occurred. I have every confidence that they are going to be successful in their next launch. I am a big fan of Rocket Lab. I'm a big fan. I mean, if you had told me 15 years ago, 10 years ago, that New Zealand would be sending manned missions up by maybe 2025, 2026, I would have thought you were on acid. But that's not the case. How space has changed. The privatization of space has changed the world. And that is just fantastic. Just fantastic. Okay, let's see here. Space over JFK got my dreams going. Halted by idiots. Yep, Alan, I agree. It was indeed. I didn't get to see, of course, Kennedy. I not quite old enough to have seen his original speeches, or indeed even when he was assassinated, one of the most tragic events in American history. But nevertheless, he did get things going for this country and for the future of space flight, and for that the world owes him a great debt. And owes the Soviets a great debt too, because after all, they're the ones who got the United States interested in the whole thing and got the competition going by shocking the world. But all of that is in ancient history. All of that is so far back now. We've got to move forward, and we've got to move forward quickly. All right, let's see what we got. Reminds me of Bezos in the 90s hiring a butler while Amazon couldn't turn a profit. Yes, it would be a move right out of the Amazon playbook. It indeed. I'd be shocked if Blue Origin has more jobs than ULA. Just to respond to what you just said, Emerson, I don't want BO to go out of business. I don't. I want Blue Origin to come under better leadership. I would like ULA to absorb Blue Origin and bring this company under better leadership. That's what I would like to see, because right now they just don't good leadership. They don't. There are entirely too many failures so far, too many delays, and only one significant accomplishment that thus far has created no benefit whatsoever to humankind. Aside from Wally Funk, that's the one big thing. The fact that she got to go to space. I will give him credit for that. But other than that, nothing really has happened with them. And to that, I find that to be unacceptable. Having interviewed the CEO of Black Arrow, and I asked him, what could you do with $1 billion a year? He just laughed. He thought that was the most ridiculous question ever. $1 billion a year? It said we'd be to orbit in 2 years. I could build, a separate foundation to help drive British spaceflight, to help promote private British spaceflight over here. So much that he could do with that. And guess what? That's how much that Blue Origin is getting right now, with very few results. And that's something that needs to change. And I don't think it's going to change under Jeff's leadership. I just don't think it's going to be able to do it. The only benefit, paradox to the suborbital space travel, because NASA has contracted both Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic on the scientific front, is you can't get the same scientific data from the Vomit Comet as you can get out of, say, the VSS Unity. The VSS Unity can stay in microgravity for about 4 minutes or so. The Vomit Comet can do microgravity for a maximum of about 25 seconds. So if your experiment can work within the space of about 4 minutes, then you can carry it out on something like VSS Unity or even on New Shepard. You can't do it on the Vomit Comet. And if you can do it for $250,000, which is way, way less than it costs to do something in orbit, then you can do sort of a proof of concept, demonstrate that your idea, your concept of working in microgravity, for a few minutes. If it works for a few minutes there, then you might be able to get the funding to do an orbital mission after that. This new innovation allows people to do that. So that's the scientific benefit that's offered now that did not exist before, when we only had 25 seconds on the Vomit Comet. Does that make sense? That's kind of my answer to that question. Let's see. Shuttle main tanks. Cargo cut out of the Starship nose cone. Boy, you know something? All of this is... and by the way, thank you. 101 on the likes. Please like. Please subscribe, guys. Help me destroy... launch this mug. 90,000 seems a long ways, but we're more than 2/3 of the way there. So, in terms of, there's so many theories about what, certain new features of the Starship are. For example, I saw something on Scott Manley's channel, who, by the way, I regard Scott Manley as one of the best authorities on spaceflight and space technology. The dude is awesome. And, even he was speculating mostly about these hot gas thrusters for, in order to provide maneuvering and such for Starship. Even he was kind of saying he wasn't positive, that's what they look like to him, that sort of thing. SpaceX is revealing very little information about Starship that we can be solid on. So it's very difficult except to speculate about these sorts of things. Elon hasn't even told us how many engines we're looking for. We really don't know. He says 30, he says 31, he says 32. I'm not sure if he's certain how many. Ooh, we have a new angry advocate, Klaus Wickman. Thank you so much for joining, and that you can be an angry advocate for a very low price, and I hope to see you tomorrow on our exclusive Discord event. Okay, enough about that. Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. Scott, yeah, Yeah, he's a legend. Scott Manley is something else. I go to his channel a lot, especially if I need specifics on rocket technology and the differences between certain types of rockets, exactly how they function. He puts it, I mean, I can read the data too, but he puts it in a really easy to understand format. It's just a great channel. So he does, and he certainly doesn't need my help. That's just my opinion. Okay, so let's see. $10 billion Bezos bailout. Yeah, well, I'm not going to say that I agree with everything that he says. I think that he is an expert on space travel. I think that he is an expert on these things. But, and by the way, just so you know, I don't necessarily think that this is a $10 billion Bezos bailout either, but for a different reason. I believe that this is a $10 billion amount for NASA that could be applied to something decent if they use it for Dynetics instead of the national rip-off team solution. Then it's not a Bezos bailout at all. It's not guaranteed that this money is going directly to Blue Origin. It isn't. So, it's unfortunately, given the reviews, it's likely to, but it's not necessarily going to go that way. I regard him highly as far as his expertise is concerned. I don't always agree with him on policy. I hope that answers your question there. Okay, predicting that nano area will come before SpaceX lands man on Mars when we make nano manufacturing possible, make a space rocket, they'll make SpaceX. They'll cut forward Model T. It is possible. It's hard to say, how long is all of this going to take? That is the big question right now. And by the way, that's something else that has me angry. If you've seen my last video, you certainly you've seen that. Our ambition right now, rather NASA's ambition, is to go to Mars by the end of 2030, 2038, 2039, whereas China has targeted 2033. Say what? You're looking at a half-century head start, and yet we have and by we I'm saying NASA, have a less ambitious goal. That's ridiculous. There's no way that should happen. And I think he was referring to Elon Musk when he was saying other people may have other goals, but we're focused on safety and that sort of thing. He may have been referring to that, but I don't think he was referring to China, and their goal is 2033, and honestly, I think they can hit it, which means we need to get there first. It's important. Mars Embassy, thank you so much. Another really good channel, by the way. Fella who's currently in Boca Chica, has been there for quite some time. Takes some really good footage. Visit his channel and subscribe, please. Okay, let's have a look here. Oh, geez, you know something? I am falling behind, I think, on some of my other questions. So, okay. Live stream Q&A. Yep. Yeah, I've fallen behind. Bear with me, I'm going to go backwards. I believe that a tax proposal is dead on arrival. It's virtue signaling since it's vogue to hate billionaires. Yeah, Darth, I agree with you. I think it probably is dead on arrival. Supak has 3 questions, and I apologize, guys. I got excited and sort of got distracted here. What is my favorite music? That is a very good question. I would say if you're talking about long term, I would say punk. Definitely, I'd say punk would be mine. Old school punk, Sex Pistols, Ramones, that sort of thing, or Green Day even. I mean, these days, Green Day is even kind of old school punk, melodic punk, but nevertheless. If I understand you correctly, his son is a musician. Yes, he is. What is his favorite instrument? It's a guitar. And his most recent musical endeavor, he has a band. And talk a little bit about how cool my daughter is. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. My daughter is studying is studying engineering, nuclear engineering for nuclear power plants. She's actually currently working on fusion, experimenting with machine oil to see what sort of impact radiation has on various types of machine oil to see what will be the best to use in a fusion reactor. So that is kind of her kind of on the fringe involvement with fusion projects. She got a full scholarship to Clemson University, their School of Engineering. They paid for everything, including her food and expense account. All I can say is she saved me a ton of money, and she is something else. She's something else, and so is my son, an amazingly talented individual. What first instigated my anger? The Starliner, the Boeing Starliner, and the fact that it failed on its first attempt, had 80 corrective actions that needed to be taken, and it was going to cost more than flying on Soyuz. That's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. It always has been. And even when it goes up at the end of July, and even I'm kind of hoping that it succeeds given the amount of money we've spent on this stupid thing, it's going to cost us more money per seat than the Soyuz is. It's going to be a complete waste of our cash. And I hope that it is the human landing system's equivalent of the SLS. That is my hope at this point. Oh, hey, how's it going? Once again, I do appreciate Unhinged Space commenting in a couple of places. Is Peregrine the problem or the lack of BE4 engines? Good question, Airborne Bob. If I were a betting man, I would say the lack of BE4 engines. That's what I would say. So it looks like I've gotten caught up on the live stream Q&A. And just so you know, the live stream Q&A, these are specific questions that come down from my Discord folks, the folks who join onto my Discord server as part of my Angry Advocates. And they ask questions directly here, and my commitment is to answer every one of those questions. I do my best to keep up here as well, but you know, it just zooms by. There's only so much one guy can do. Well, thank you so much, Ahmed. I do appreciate that. Yeah, she's blown away that she's working on fusion as well. I have a supporter in Great Britain who works at a nuclear reactor, and he is quite he's quite envious. He really is. I'm crazy proud of her. Insufferably proud. I used to hate guys who would go on and on about their kids, and now I'm one of them. I've been one of them for a while now. So what can you say? In any event, guys, thank you again for your support that you're giving me. We still have some time, obviously, almost half an hour. Please like, please subscribe, and I appreciate the support I've received in the form of super chats, in terms of people joining as angry advocates, and there are lots of benefits to that, either as an angry advocate here, or if you want to join on Patreon, you'll get a lot of exclusive content, and it's increasing all the time, especially with all the stuff I got from the Cape. Enough of that. Or if you're interested, this is a piece of my merch on SN15. Okay, enough of that stuff. Is Blue Origin reliable for anything? Well, Johnny, they launched a rocket into suborbital space and it came back down, and nobody got killed. So I guess they're reliable for that. And what is truly frustrating is the propulsion on New Shepard is sufficient to send CubeSats into orbit. If they wanted to, they could build an alternate version of New Shepard that could send up CubeSats for clients and at least get something going, but they haven't done so. Oh, my buddy in Yorkshire just put my shop up at the top of the live chat if you have an interest in checking all of that out. Got some merch in there, much of which was created by my supporters, by the way, including this SN15 one that has my logo on the back. Do I think Boeing can ever return to its former greatness? It used to push the boundaries. Now it seems like every corrupt company. You know, I don't think so. There always comes a time There comes a time when companies are great and when they achieve great things, and then the people who are responsible for those great things, they retire or they die, and their replacements don't measure up. It happens all the time. And I'll give you an example. TWA, Howard Hughes, one of the biggest geniuses in the history, of the planet, certainly in American history, a genius in so many respects, both in terms of financial engineering, etc. And after he was gone, TWA didn't last a long time after that. So it just kind of works that way. You have people who are inspired, you have people who have just natural talent, and I think that's one of the reasons, by the way, why when they ask Elon Musk, hey, would you go to Mars? And he says, only if I'm sure that SpaceX is going to keep going on the path that I set for it. In other words, he's saying if I die, thing that I want to have happen at SpaceX could go straight down the tubes. Somebody else is going to take over. They're going to see that there's no money or very little short-term money in going to Mars, and they're just going to shut the whole thing down. So I think that there's, some parallels to be made there. To understand I'm trying to come close to space and landing humans on Mars. If SpaceX is genuinely trying to get to Mars, unless they're militarizing space. Well, they aren't militarizing space, for one thing. The Chinese space agency is, by its nature, a military agency. And I think they have military ambitions out in space. And, it's amazing some of the things that they can accomplish. We're talking of people that could throw up a 55-story building in 3 days. It's insane how fast they are able to do things. So underestimating them could be a dangerous thing indeed. But hello. Thank you so much for your support, your ongoing support to this channel. You are awesome. And just so you know, Foom supports lots of channels on YouTube. He is a huge, huge supporter of space on YouTube. So thanks so much for being a part of this. Let's see here. Why does Blue Origin even want 10 billion from NASA anyway? Amazon doesn't technically support them. But if Bezos wanted to, he could certainly invest more than $1 billion a year in them. It's just he doesn't want to invest his own money, does he? I mean, a lot of people who become very rich, they tend to want to hold on to that wealth. If you're the richest guy on the planet, you want to stay the richest guy on the planet. So I think that is a lot of his motivation. So anyway, that's my simple answer. He just doesn't want it. He just doesn't want to lose his wealth. He isn't willing to take the risk that people like Howard Hughes and people like, I keep talking about him, and like Elon Musk, because I think the two of them are very similar. People who invested lots of their own money, put themselves at tremendous risk financially, and did it for the future of their company and for the benefit of mankind. Graham Edwards, thank you so much for the £5. Very, very generous of you. Really do appreciate that. All of this is really, I tell you, the support it provides for this channel is tremendous, is simply tremendous. All right. Yeah, it looked a little odd there to me for a second, but is the audio still fading in and out? Chinese space program is military. Yeah. Notice how the Chinese astronauts saluted when they boarded their new space station. Yeah, that's just it. I mean, even Roscosmos is not a military institution. They do military things, and NASA does military things, and there are a variety of companies that carry out military missions, but they are not military organizations, whereas China most definitely is. And that's something that sets them apart, and it's one of the reasons why I don't trust their motivations. And by the way, I have a second part to my series of recorded videos coming out, competition, or rather the new space race, which is associated towards At first, it was about Mars and SpaceX, NASA competing with China to go to Mars. Now it's going to be about low Earth orbit, and it's going to be about Sierra Nevada and the Axiom Corporation and ULA and SpaceX against China. And you'll notice that NASA is not in that mix, and the United States is not in that mix. It's because NASA awarded more than $100 million in 2 subsequent years to Axiom Space to help them build a private space station that was attached to the ISS, and then they would detach it. And Congress didn't give them the money. Congress gave them 10% of the money. It's pathetic. It's clear that Congress doesn't regard space as being an important thing, which makes it a private industry versus an entire nation. It's Sierra Nevada and SpaceX and Axiom Space and ULA against the People's Republic of China, with the U.S. not giving a shit. How does that make any sense? It makes no sense at all. We have to be committing, tax money, what little that we put into NASA. A lot of it needs to be going into sparking the private industry in the low Earth orbit. Private space stations. The ISS only has so many years left in it. We're going to need a replacement. 2 replacements would be better than 1. And Sierra Nevada has a great idea, and so too does Axiom. And that's going to be the topic of my next video. Thank you so much, Brad the Fitter, for the 5 quid. If you put coffee in your Boeing mug, we'll get confused before it gets into your mouth. It is possible. I would say that's an experiment that could be a little dangerous to take. Okay, audio's been good. Glad to hear. We need more space planes. I would agree with that. The British are currently working on a space plane right now, and but they've been working on it forever. They don't put enough of their own tax money into these projects either. However, there's a lot of private space industry going on in Great Britain, and I'm very excited about that. I'm in close communication with 2 different CEOs over in Britain, and I'm waiting on some really good news from both of them, which will really bring some awesome stuff to Great Britain and to their space industry. So hoping to bring that to you soon. Boom! Thank you so much. Europa Clipper, big win, paradigm change. Yeah, Europa Clipper, I think, is a wonderful project, number 1, and number 2, putting it in the hands of the Falcon Heavy, along with the 16 Psyche asteroid project, putting that in the hands of Falcon Heavy. Taking it away from the Atlas V, not to say that there's anything wrong with the Atlas V, but it's less expensive to use Falcon Heavy. And that is a really cool paradigm shift that's going on right now, because Falcon Heavy is a perfect rocket to send probes into the outer solar system for a substantially lower price. Graham Edwards, another £5. Thank you so much. Do appreciate, love my style. Thanks a lot. Thanks so much for that. I will indeed keep angry, and looking forward to seeing you as well. Maybe I'll buy you a pint, depending on where you are in the UK. I'll either be in Wales or in Cornwall. I haven't quite made my decision as far as that's concerned, but there's a lot going on in both places. And by the way, if you're interested in what's going on in those areas, look in my interview videos for Black Arrow and for Spaceport Cornwall. Black Arrow and Spaceport Cornwall. 2 interviews being carried out, one with the CEO of Black Arrow and the other with the director of Spaceport Cornwall. Very exciting stuff going on. Spaceport Cornwall, not only with Virgin Orbit, looking to act as a landing field for them, but also with Sierra Nevada acting as an alternate operations center for Sierra Nevada and the Dream Chaser. Really cool stuff, and that's all in those interviews if you want to check that out. Okay, back to the live stream Q&A. Maybe not like Boeing, but if they finally get the Starliner as a functional and operating vehicle, isn't that a good thing? I agree, Mad Lawyer. If they do finally get it functioning, it will be useful. It will be useful, but it will be expensive. $90 million a seat is too much. And so I think it needs to be an interim solution. I think that we do need two vehicles, but I think it's an interim solution. I believe that it should be around for until the Dream Chaser is human rated. Once the Dream Chaser is human rated, then we can go ahead and phase out the Starliner. That's my opinion. If I read the writings of books by Casey Hanmer about Mars settlement and industrialization, I have not, Brian Blue. I will check that out. I'll definitely check that out. Just so you know, once again, I'm kind of going through my live stream Q&A. Supax, what is holding the government up with support for our long overdue investment on extra Earth endeavors? Because nobody cares. People just don't care. People don't know. If you asked, if you took a sampling of people throughout the United States and say, how quickly do you think we're going back to the moon? How many do you think would how many do you think would answer that question right? Not very many. I'd say a small percentage. Something just popped up, and I am indeed going to make that happen. Once I'm over in the UK, there's going to be a meetup. Oh, and thanks for reminding me. This could be a little ways in the future, but I'm planning on a meetup here in the United States as well. Probably Boca Chica on the beach over there. I'm planning on a fan meetup there. So two meetups, one on this side of the Atlantic and one on the other side of the Atlantic. So an opportunity for folks to come out, for all of you folks to meet each other and me and all that. And it'll just be a blast. So yeah, meet up in Boca Chica. Once again, you're hearing it here first. Meeting in the UK and meeting at Boca Chica. Don't know exactly where yet or when, but that's how the plans will be. That's what I'm planning. Twickers, how am I getting angry? The Chinese getting to Mars first might be a good thing in the long run. Surely Congress would react by throwing dollars at Boeing and Blue. Yeah, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? If the Chinese got to Mars first, they'd say, "Oh, Boeing, come and help us. You to the moon first," and you know how that would go, of course. Geez, I can't believe they're still talking about using SLS to get us to Mars. Come on. How is that supposed to work? I mean, you would have to assemble a ship in orbit or in cislunar space. It would have to be much bigger than the Orion. And every time you launch an SLS to take up the cargo or to take up components of the ship, you're flushing $2 billion down the toilet. It makes no sense whatsoever. Starship is the solution to get the human species to Mars, period. I've said things about Starship like launching this year is too soon and stuff like that. But in terms of do I believe in it? Yes. Do I want it to succeed? Absolutely. Absolutely. So just to be 100% clear about that. Okay, let's see here. Scotland, a meetup in Scotland. That would be interesting. It's a possibility because Sky Aurora is going to be doing a test out there fairly soon. So a meetup there would be an interesting thing as well. We have about 12 minutes left, so still plenty of time. Surfboard if you're coming to UK. That's an interesting one. I met a fellow named James who's from there. He was one of the guys working at the helicopter facility at the Cape where I took my little helicopter tour of NASA. So yeah, that was it. He asked me if I could guess where he was from. I got close. He was shocked that I got Wales anyway. So anyway, but I've been there 8 times. I've spent a lot of my life in the UK. So that's just how it is. Another reason why I plan on moving there. I've wanted to move to the UK for some time. Now I have a really good reason. The UK is really going after the private space industry in a very big way, and I'm super excited about it. Okay. Starship should be. See, mainland EU makes it easy to travel. Oh, that's an interesting one. Let's see. I wonder where. Now, you know something. There's some stuff going on in Sweden. Who knows? That might be a possibility. There's not at the actual location. I think that's going to be restricted. But perhaps Stockholm, something like that. That could be an interesting possibility. One thing I've noticed is that you can fly anywhere in Europe and it's pretty inexpensive. I noticed from Heathrow to almost any city in Central Europe is about £100. It's really very inexpensive compared to how much it costs to fly from one coast of the United States to another. It's a very, very big difference. Okay, so we got more. Do, 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 do. No, it's not a mod. That is actually my friend in Yorkshire. ASN, another space nut. He is my partner in crime, who does a lot of awesome work for me. A tremendous amount of awesome work for me. This whole setup, this whole very cool looking setup, it's all because of him. So everybody give him a big thank you. He is the best, the best. So yeah, do I honestly think that Jeff Bezos is not serious about space or won't achieve much with Blue Origin? I just, I think he's in, I think he likes space and he is serious about space, but he likes money more. That's his problem. I mean, if you want to be successful in space, then you have to put your cash at risk. I mean, Elon Musk risked complete bankruptcy getting Falcon 1 into orbit. That's the kind of chances you need to take if you want to be successful in this industry. And he doesn't want to take those sorts of chances. He doesn't want to come anywhere close to taking those kinds of chances. And that is ridiculous. So if he wants Blue Origin to be a power player, as everybody thought they were going to be, richest guy on the planet, but he thought they were going to be something else. New Glenn looked like a really awesome rocket, looked like a really promising development, and yet, nope, nope, afraid not. Neil, thank you so much for the $5. So generous. I tell you, all this stuff. It is a massive help to me. These trips that I go on, the content that I get, and my next destination is Boca Chica. That is where I'll be going back to, unless SLS flies first. If SLS takes off in November or something like that, I will be going to the Cape to see that take off because nobody has seen anything that powerful take off since Saturn V. But otherwise, I'll be going to Boca Chica. Regardless of whatever concerns that I've expressed about launching Starship, a stacked Starship this quickly, I am going to be there. No would-be space journalist would not be there. So I will definitely be there regardless. So thanks so much for your support. It's going to a good cause. Unquestionably. And now that I've got the support of my friend in Yorkshire, ASN, we're going to be able to do some much better stuff in terms of the video quality, in terms of the sound. You're going to get a lot of amazing you are there kinds of experiences the next time I go. So it's going to be a cool thing. New Glenn is vaporware. Yeah, let's see here. I want to go to Boca Chica too. I'd love you to go, Neil. I really would. SLS flies first. That'll be the day. We'll see because they just put the ICPS on it. It's really close. It's really close. But then again, if their software goes the same way that the Starliner went, then it's going to be at least another year and a half before that thing launches. If they then they're down the tubes at that point. But if their software does not go the way of Starliner, then SLS should be launching either by the end of the year or January of 2022. They nearly have the whole thing stacked and ready to go. The only thing really that's left to go is Orion. And Orion is human rated, ready to go, and has actually already been to space. So that is absolutely prepared to go, at least on an unmanned flight. Okay, let's see here. Jeff mentioned New Armstrong during the New Shepard interview. Ken, did he mention a New Armstrong? Nothing as far as I've heard. Did he mention that the money made from New Shepard would be used for New Glenn? Did he say that? Because I don't remember him saying that. And that would have been a nice thing for him to say. If he had said, the funds that we get out of this effort here will allow us to support that would definitely be a good thing. So I don't know. I kind of doubt that he did. I didn't hear him say it, but he might. Bear with me, guys. I'm just going to the live stream Q&A real quick. Getting caught up. I know you're a fan of Virgin Galactic. Do you know Richard Branson is not that popular in the UK? Yes, I do know that, Ken. He ran a railway company which nobody liked. No, they don't. He ran a health company that took the NHS to court. Nobody does that. It's almost treason. And he persuaded the government to bail out his airline for £1 billion because he had no money about 6 months before he shot himself into space. Yes, Ken, I'm aware of these things. I actually wasn't aware of all of it. I'm aware of some of it, definitely. I know that he's not popular. Just when I heard that for the first time, and I'm glad I've got somebody asking me this, I kind of went around to all of my British supporters and asked them what they thought of Sir Richard, and none of them felt badly about it. None of them felt like he was the greatest guy on the planet either, but none of them really felt bad about him. So I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Thank you so much for doing that. That is quite unfortunate. I do know that his rail line sucks. I've gotten that from some people that I know. My brother went with them, so and had a very bad experience with Virgin Rail. On the other side of the equation, my son and I flew with Virgin Airlines, and it was the most wonderful experience I have ever had on an airplane. They really took care of us. We had curry for dinner, which blew my son's mind. He's like, "Are you kidding me? Curry on an airplane?" He was thrilled. So there are some positive things also, but I hear you. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are not big fans of him. I did a poll with my British supporters, and it doesn't seem to be universal. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. I appreciate it. I think Bezos' plan for BO long-term survival is making the business relationships that'll sustain it more than just making the investment. It's not a similar approach than the early days of Amazon. Well, he could be going for the long term. I could see that. The long game sometimes works, but he better not expect any money. He better not expect any cash out of the U.S. government or any tax money if that's the game he's playing. He needs to produce results, at least get the BE4 engines running before he gets any tax money. At least that's my opinion. Dante, what do you think about the first manned Starship is going to be named? I'm partial to the Starship Enterprise. William Shatner christening it by breaking a champagne bottle while shouting to boldly go. That's a great idea. I love that idea. I could see Elon definitely doing that. Is Bill Shatner going to live that long? That's the big question. He was born in the 1930s. The guy is getting old. Let's hope that he lives long enough to see that. I think that would be a wonderful thing. Why isn't Canada more involved in space endeavors? Or they, says Subex. They're involved mostly on the periphery through NASA. Of course, the Canadarm would be the most, famous thing that they're involved with right now. So that's definitely something that they do, and they have sent astronauts into space. Canada, however, does have a very small population. We have to remember that. So their tax revenue is not gigantic compared to the rest of the world. So that could have something to do with it. Although I can't say for certain. Most of the UK rail lines suck. And I say that as a Brit. Well, I'll tell you something, Mimi. Maybe they do suck compared to the Germans or somebody like that. But man, they are miraculous compared to the United States airline, not airlines, to their rail lines. I've taken British Rail many times, and they did a wonderful job by my standards. Um, Out here, you may as well ignore the train. You may as well just forget about it. It's just there's just public transportation unless you're in New York or Philadelphia, maybe Chicago, something like that. It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Public transportation in the UK is some of the best I have ever seen. But then again, I've never been to Germany or something like that, so that or Sweden or Norway, so they might have something that is superior. We have just about run out of time. If you have not subscribed, if you're not like, please do so. And for those of you who have supported for those of you who have supported the channel, thank you so much for your generosity. I really appreciate it. It makes a massive difference. A massive. I have just been reminded that Anton, who's a huge supporter of this channel, has just arrived. So I'm going to give a few extra minutes to Anton because he's such an awesome supporter of this channel. So I'm going to give a few extra minutes before we close. So everybody, Anton got here late. You guys get some extra time, and I have to admit, I like that too. Okay, let's have a look here. The subway in DC is awesome. It is awesome. It is. I like the tube better. I like the tube better, but it is good. There's no question about that. It is good. We know the Starship, when fully reused, costs about $2 million. How much would it cost if they didn't reuse the upper stage? It would be a very expensive thing. Without complete, and I'm totally behind Elon on this, without complete 100% reusability, we cannot get to Mars. We absolutely need complete reusability. I mean, we might be able to go with, part of Starship being non-reusable, to begin with, but it is going to be insanely expensive and not practical for going to Mars. We need to have complete reusability if we're going to accomplish that. Or a propellant depot in space, as Tori Bruno has suggested, something like that. But there has to be the ability to get the ship into orbit, refuel it, and then go. That was a genius idea. It was a genius idea when I heard it. I love the idea, and it absolutely has to be carried through one way or the other. Yes, I do T-shirts. Absolutely, Tavern. It's all on the channel. It's actually at the top, right there at the top of the live chat. If you click on that, you'll find all my merch. I've got tons of it. It's on my channel, and I've got it at Teespring as well. So it's a debate of flat earther. Oh God, that would be such a waste of time. It'd be a waste. It'd be like a political. It might be like a political argument, to be honest. People will just never change their minds about this stuff unless you actually took them into space, and even then, they would say it was done with special effects or something along those lines. What do I think about the Earth-to-Earth Starship? That is going to be the toughest one of all, especially for commercial passengers. For military, it makes more sense, especially if we're talking about cargo. That makes a great deal of sense. But for passengers, that is going to be a very risky thing indeed. And I think it'll be quite challenging in order to be able to pull that off. By the way, I am pushing it all the way until 3:10. Well, thank you, Tamara, for being a fan. I really do appreciate that. And by the way, I mean you can go on to Patreon and become an angry advocate for $3 a month, $3, and then you can join us on Discord and talk to me all the time. I take DMs from my Discord supporters all the time. You can do it either that way or you can hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. Either way is fine by me. So let's see here. No, Virgin Galactic has a bigger version space plane on the drawing board. Yes, they do. They do, Joyce. They do have a bigger one. It's called Spaceship 3, and it's designed for suborbital travel, say from LA to London in about 90 minutes. That's the idea behind it. So yes, they do have their ambition is to make this into a transcontinental or rather a suborbital plane designed to travel across the world. So it is a very exciting thing, but it's called Spaceship 3, and it's definitely in the works. Real quick, I'm gonna check this again. Live stream Q&A is okay. All right, let me have a look here. How long before the 75th Rangers are using the Starship for re-entry exercises? I think it'll be a little while, Coco. You got to get it human rated first. And I think they'll probably be taking volunteers to begin with. It's going to be a little while before Starship is human rated. Oh, by the way, there we go. We got Virgin Galactic up on the screen right now, by the way. So yeah, that's the VSS Imagine, what it's called, and it's the latest that has come out. So yeah, they're constantly at work, and they definitely have ambitions beyond just going straight up and going straight down. Let's see here. How much would a non-reusable Starship cost? Matt, I haven't the slightest idea. I haven't the slightest idea. They have not revealed how much this costs. I have a contact in Boca Chica who keeps us insisting that these things are, as cheap as anything, but this is not the completed version, just so you know. All this is pretty much is just a piece of stainless steel with engines on it and reaction control thrusters. They don't have, the insulation. They don't have a lot of things that need to be done still to make this into a fully functional vessel. They're still not at that point. So there's still a lot of things that need to be done. So because SpaceX is a privately held company, they keep this information very close to the vest. If they were publicly traded, then they would have to reveal how much this costs. But they haven't. They haven't. Oh, well, Tamara, if you want a shirt like mine, it's on the shop. It's on the shop. And you know what? Just for you, I'll go ahead and reorganize the shop so it's one of the first ones that come popping up. And by the way, it's got my logo on the back too. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's got my logo on the back as well. But anyway, so yeah, the thanks so much. Yeah, I'd love it if you had one. I've got all kinds of styles of shirts and all that. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, it does look like something out of Star Wars, doesn't it? It looks like something that Naboo would have made or something like that. There's by the way, once again, there's the shop right there on the live chat. ASN went and popped that up for us if you want to check that out. Got 2 more minutes. I'm going to go for 2 more minutes. What's Bert Rutan up? He is actually in the midst of building a super huge spacecraft, the Strato launcher, as it is called, to send up his own version of a suborbital spacecraft designed for travel. That's what he's been up to. And as a matter of fact, I saw the hangar where it is currently being worked on while I was in Southern California. So look, by the way, look it up. It's easy to find. Look up Strato launcher. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Okay. Let's see here. About 20 million up to 40 million, says unhinged space. Yeah, that's possible. It's possible that that's how much it would cost. And once again, it's difficult to tell. It's really difficult to tell. We don't have access to their balance sheets. We don't have access to, their pricing schedule and all that sort of thing. One thing is that welders cost a lot of money. And there's a lot of welding that goes on in building a stainless steel structure that huge. Welders don't work for free and they don't work for cheap either. So that alone makes it costly. So it's not like there it is. There we go. There's the Stratolauncher. Isn't that an amazing aircraft? Oh my lord. It's like the new Spruce Goose. The except jet powered. What an amazing vehicle. And by the way, I have been right there. If you look behind, you can see behind that building, you can see Virgin Galactic and all that. I've been on that field, and it is something else. There's a big aircraft graveyard there too. It is incredibly cool. Well, guys, I hate to do this to you. I really take one more look at the take one more look at the live stream Q&A. Just want to let you know you love what you do. It is so needed. Well, thank you, Subax. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I really do appreciate it. It means everything to me. The contributions I've received during this live stream have been amazing, been so generous, and they're going to go to a good cause. I'm going to keep bringing you awesome content until I just can't do it anymore. So until we have an actual mission going to Mars, a viable private space station, and we go to the moon to stay until humanity finally leaves its cradle behind and goes elsewhere as we should have done half a century ago. I urge all of you to stay angry about space.